Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the PodUP with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. PodUP, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Every day, every single day. Just even if you can't pitch 7 games in a 7-game series, it won't work.
When you look at the format they had for the championship series, they played 7 straight days. Do you like that, or do you like
it?
I loved it as a fan, because you knew you had a game every day. But I just thought it, from a strategy standpoint, the managers really had to earn their money, make good decisions. But they're in the World Series, they're going to take a few days off, right?
Yeah, it's not as bad as like the NBA Finals where they play a game and then they get a week off every
right.
second day. Where the NBA Finals seem like they go for 2 months. But yeah, I liked it because it showed the true depth. Who had the deepest organization, 1 through 28 this year with a 28-man roster. When you get the off days, you can just use your same pitchers, but they had to use strategy. They had to figure out who 5 starters were going to be. Do we bring a guy back early? And then the bullpen came into play. Like, man, we can't throw these guys 7 days in a row. And both series were 7-game series. So you start running into, okay, well, this reliever's thrown 2 days in a row. Can he throw a 3rd day in a row? Can he throw 4 out of 5? And how effective are they going to be? It changed a lot of strategy. And I think that's why ultimately the Dodgers and the Rays won, because they just had more depth.
You talked about the Rays having the better pitching staff. From the lineup from 1 through 9 in the batting order, which team do you like the best?
Oh, the Dodgers have a better lineup. They have 2 MVPs in their lineup.
Right.
You can't argue that. They have Betts, they have Bellinger, right? Then you have Corey Seager, who was the NLCS MVP. I think from a name recognition point now, Austin Meadows, if he gets hot, Brandon Lau, if he gets hot, Arozarena has been the best player in baseball for the playoffs. So, if you never know, because it's always some guy that you've never heard of or that I shouldn't say you've never heard of, but most casual baseball fans don't know, that comes up and is a star and does something and you're like, oh man, I don't know that guy, but look at what he did. So you just never know. And all it takes is one guy to get hot at the right time and be the guy to lead his team.
Yeah, I agree with that. So AJ, just so all our fans know here, we have people all around the country that watch and listen to our podcast, but a lot of Gator fans. You're a diehard Gator. You live in Orlando. Let everybody know why you like the Florida Gators.
Well, I grew up in Orlando. I was born in New York. I moved to Orlando when I was 2, but I grew up going to all the Gator games. My first real college football memory was Oklahoma State, 1990, in the swamp. I think you probably remember that game a little bit too.
Just a little.
Yeah. So, that was kind of like I was, 13 years old, had come up with a few buddies of mine. I was living in a little town called Brooksville at the time. And we drove up with our parents and we sat in the stands. And this was before the, Ben Hill Griffith even had like a north end zone. It was just like a fence over there on that end. So it's a couple bleachers. So that was like kind of, I remember going to games and it was still turf. But the one memory I remember was walking in 90, Spurrier's first game, obviously your first game, and in the crowd, the first play, the other team had to call a timeout, and I was kind of hooked ever since then. Yeah,
no doubt. It was some good times. You're doing coaching a lot of youth baseball, right?
No, I try to stay out of it, Shane. I go to a lot of youth baseball, but I just watch because coaching, I couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle the kids were unbelievable, but I couldn't handle the parents.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you also. I'm sure you can't handle the umpires at these youth baseball tournaments as well. I figured you'd have been thrown out of a couple of games already.
No. I say we were just up in Panama City this past weekend for a perfect game, like the World Wood Bat, World Series, teams all over the country, and there's plays and parents start yelling at the umpire, and I'm like, guys, relax. Like it's a 13 and 14-year-old kids. No one's going to remember this 2 weeks from now. So like let's calm down. It's not life or death, but you get excited, you get fired up because you want your kid to do well, right? And you want your kid to succeed, and you want your kid's team, because what happens is you have these teams, and we kind of have a little local team with a couple kids from Gainesville, and most of our team is from the Orlando area, and you get them and you you want them to do well because you become friends with the parents, you become friends with the kids, and you want the kids to do well. So I think that's what the investment is. And then you always think the umpire's screwing you, right? Like, oh, this guy's job, he doesn't care. He just wants his $50 and to go home quick, right?
Exactly.
So you have to understand that. But yeah, we got Pinkins, the assistant basketball coach. His kid is on our team at Florida. He's a really good pitcher. He won the pitcher of the tournament, this tournament, and a couple other kids up from Gainesville. So we got a good little team they run around. Is
your boy a catcher?
He is. Yeah, I try to talk him out of it, but he loves it. I don't know why. It's too hard. I'm like, dude, play outfield or shortstop. You have more fun. But he's like, no, I want to be a catcher, and so I do the best I can to help him. But I also try to stay out of the way more than not.
Yeah, I understand. Last thing for you, AJ. Obviously, the Gators only played 3 games this year. You and I have texted for the last 5, 6, 7 years. I know your frustration, but you got to be happy with Dan Mullen as the football coach, right?
Yeah, I hope he doesn't have COVID for too long. He's been great. I mean, offensively, they look like a different animal than what they had. Obviously, the first 3 games, the defense hasn't been where we all thought it would be, but I think they're going to be okay. Look, it always comes down to Georgia, right? Can they beat Georgia? And on November 7th, if they beat Georgia, they'll be back to where they want to be, which is hopefully a shot at the SEC championship in Alabama and go from there. But I feel like, at least, I mean, our frustration, I know talking to you, has been, where's all the points? Like, they went for years and years and didn't score points, but at least now they're scoring points. So at least it gives you something to look forward to. Like, hey, we can actually complete a forward pass now.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, we got a text here on the Titan MR text line. It comes from Joe. Joe wants to know, AJ, did you have a chance or an offer to come play baseball at Florida?
I did not. That is one of the funny stories. Friends of mine always make fun of me because I actually signed with the University of Tennessee. And I was a huge Florida fan, as you know, growing up. And Joe Arnold was the coach. It was his last year. And I had 3 kids 3 years in a row before me sign with Florida. And they all turned professional. 2 of them made it to the major leagues, Brian Barber and some guy named Johnny Damon. And then another guy the next year named Brian Costello. And Joe Arnold called me and said, hey, I can't take the chance of recruiting you and you not coming. I'm on the hot seat and I need to win. And I literally on the phone was like, look, I'll come to Florida. I'll give you my word. I'll come there. I won't sign. And he's like, I can't take that chance. And so then I ended up signing with Tennessee, knowing in my mind there was a chance I would never go there. I never went there. So I'm not a Tennessee fan, but yeah, it was kind of an odd story that I would have gone to Florida, but unfortunately Joe Arnold was like, yeah, I can't take that chance. He ended up getting fired. And I think Andy Lopez came in after that. But with Kevin O'Sullivan, who's there now, I was a coach when I was in the Twins organization. So I obviously still root for Florida and Gator baseball.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen the new ballpark, but it is phenomenal. And
I've heard it's amazing.
Yeah, it is. They're ready to play in it, and they are supposedly on paper. This is going to be the strongest college baseball team that we've ever had on paper. You never know how that's going to turn out, but should be a big year for them. AJ, appreciate you taking the time to join us, my man. Be safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, Shane. Thanks, buddy, and go Gators.
Yes, sir. That's AJ Pierzynski. Join us on the Titan MR hotline. When we come back, we're going to wrap up this show. You're watching and listening to PodUP with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back.
Hey, Gator Nation, this is your former head ball coach, Steve Spurrier. Check out our show, Inside the Huddle with Shane Matthews and Steve Russell, every Tuesday during football season on 8:50 a.m. and 98.1 FM WRUF at 10 o'clock a.m.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility.
Area Rug Masters, your number one choice in Gainesville for all your rug cleaning services.
Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte.
Celebration Point Town Center, Center State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, TB Financial, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Dar Shakow Insurance, Pomodoro Cafe,
Big Mills Cheesesteaks,
MB Listing, Cornerstone Financial, McDonald's Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie, Chick-fil-A on Archer Road, Aver and Smith Personal Injury Attorneys, Orange Theory Fitness, PRP Regeneration Specialist, and Dowling Signs. Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.